Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break.
Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot.
Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go
where everybody knows your name.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Mikoy. Welcome back to Cheers. I am your host. I am joined.
You can't do that.
I am joined by the Betty to my Simon Petrikov.
Nah,
Hey.
I don't think that's correct.
No,
that's not right.
No, I am factually known as the most misunderstood man in Tor's room. That is factual.
Miko, I'm pretty sure I'd be the Simon to your Betty.
Okay, Simon, introduce yourself.
Hey, it's Pokier 2004 here. I apologize to anyone who doesn't understand any of the references we've been making so far.
TLT is filmed before a live studio audience. Alright, last time we covered the tier list and round 1 predictions. Today we're going to discuss round 1 recap and round 2 predictions. So round 1. Good God, round 1 has been a crazy past 10 days, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
32 whittling down to 16 in the winners, 16 in the losers. We got some crazy happenings in the first couple of games, and then it just kept getting weirder and weirder until everything gets resolved and you're left with the broken pieces. Alright, so why don't we get to proceeding to talking about every single game that had happened this week, shall we?
We shall.
First off, in round 1, we got Penter versus Geov97. How ironic that
this is actually the last game that happened of the week, though.
Yeah, the first one listed is actually the last one that happened. It needing an extension to be played the day after round 2 gets posted, and ultimately...
No, it was actually a few hours later.
Or a few hours later, excuse me. But it needed that amount of time to resolve and have the game, and have subsequently the deciding first winner be moving on, while the other makes into the loser's bracket. So... the games themselves were very so-and-so. First of all was doubles, where Penter dominated Geo for most of this game, using Goldango to sweep...
most of?
Well, it was, from my perspective, because I was watching it in Penter's perspective, and in my eyes, I think he pretty much, had the game to his advantage.
Yeah, he had the game to his advantage the entire time, Mikoy. There's no most of here.
Well, alright, they're
dominated horribly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he dominated all of the matchup, not just most of the matchup, using Goldango to sweep the first half with Make It Rain, and despite some setbacks with Fluttermane critting the Iron Hands at one point, Terrifier Ogrepon was in the back, killing it and Okie Dokie for the end.
I gotta wonder, was Giev's Tornadus not Tailwind or something?
I didn't think it was Tailwind, especially because she would have used that the first time she brings out Tornadus. You would think that she would ultimately use the dang thing.
Also, she taunted a Goldango.
Never do that, especially when it's already boosted. Please.
It wasn't already boosted. What are you talking about?
Well, no. Just the fact that taunt Goldango just seems like a bad idea out of paper. Even if you're trying to predict a setup, a nasty plot, or recover, it was...
I think you're forgetting the obvious reason why it's stupid here.
Gold is gold. That's right. Good as gold exists.
Yeah, you don't taunt a Goldango. It will not work.
Yeah. Even with like a follow me taunt kind of variant, you just never taunt a Golden Go. You just never. LC was next. Larvesta being sacked immediately to Buizel at the start didn't pay off as no burn happened. Geoff actually played her Mudbray pretty decently, out predicting Surskit with Stone Edge, keeping it safe for potential switch-ins that would cause trouble for her later. Towards the end, Terrifier Voltorb tried to come through, but Pinter kept his Mienfoo healthy in order to tank hits, regen his health back, while whittling down most of Geoff's mons. Terra stealing it at the end against Clement to win the game.
Oh, hey, I don't think I actually saw the whole game of this.
It was
I thought I
interesting.
did. I guess not.
It was interesting. Geoff played it decently well, especially with her Mudbray, but I think Pinter just basically had the advantage towards the end.
You know, that's what I told her. I told her, you played LC decently. You played doubles horribly.
How blunt, but it's true. That's right. So Pinter moves on.
I think there was a potential endgame in which Geoff could have won this.
Which, explain.
Let me skip ahead to where it is. If once Mienfoo came in from Penter's end, if Geoff switched into Glimmet that turn, I think it was possible for Voltorb to come back out and win, because I think Penter would have needed to close combat in order to kill Glimmet, which would have allowed Voltorb to kill it.
Right, and the notion that Voltorb outsped Mienfoo as well, that wholly benefits Geoff more than it does without the... Well, aside from what she actually played.
Then again, let's see, Glimmet was on 53. It probably took about 10, 12, whatever something takes when it gets rocks.
Yeah. And that's not Terrifier, by the way. She didn't Terrifier the Voltorb by that point.
What?
No.
It had enough to come in one more time.
Okay, fair enough.
Not after the fake out, though. That's why I say she should have switched to Glimmet on that turn.
So, yeah, the low range definitely didn't help. Ultimately, in the end, Penter just took advantage with the Mienfoo.
Although I'm not totally sure, let's see, Glimmet comes in, it's on 53, down to around 40%, probably takes maybe 1 damage from fake out.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably brings it down to more 35 maybe?
Probably.
So I guess, I don't know, maybe Knock kills it from there, and if it does, then Penter just wins anyways.
Yeah, Penter's...
Or if it doesn't and he has to use close combat, then Guy would win with Voltorb.
Yeah, in either way, Penter still had the advantage. Geoff just had to make that one specific play in order to win. And
even then, I'm not sure if that was one. That was only a possibility.
Yeah, it's just way too specific. Towards the end game, Penter still had a pretty not fresh, but semi-competent Mienfoo in order to win the game. Of
course, another potential way he could have won. He could have won was if static triggered.
that too. Definitely pushing it the outspeeding kind of way in order for Glimmet to have an even safer victory.
Well, then again, he could have just Terra Steeled and then it wouldn't have mattered.
Anyway, Penter still had the advantage. Moves on to the winner's bracket, while Geoff is in losers. Next up is Balor versus Skimmy the God. Now, OU happened first, and I personally thought that Skimmy had the matchup won immediately from this game. activating static against Samurott, crippling Balor early on, generally having mons that can withstand most attacks like Ting Lu Walling Skeledirge and Gliscor's Earthquakes, Great Tusk to wall Dragonite's E-Speed attempts to Rapid Spin, and Headlong Rush the rest to death. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. I didn't like Balor's team. Generally Skimmy, as he said, like pretty much had the matchup one in his head and played it to his advantage. And then LC happened, in which this was weird. Gothi, well, it wasn't weird on the fact that it wasn't like unwinnable, but it's just a weird sort of playing. Gothita was very effective in the first couple of turns, tricking Fungus into Spore and then living off a Vullaby knockoff. And then it just became an evenly paced game after that. Skimmy's Fire Voltorb went on to chip Poniard to allow Vullaby to kill it. Balor's Voltorb did nearly win by the end, but Skimmy just generally having more mons and Meanfu in the back, saving it from the reverse sweep and ultimately claiming the win.
Balor fell for the trick Gothita in the beginning.
Now that pretty much
on a turn he scored.
That pretty much was the defining factor in which Balor lost this game. He was playing at a disadvantage by that point after the Fungus had already died, so in the end, he had only Terra Voltorb to really do damage. Well, aside that and the Poniard, as you see here. But yeah.
You know, I think Skimmy's using the exact LC team he used in Room Tours, because I remember facing and falling for that exact same thing.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If the team works, it just works with room tours. It works in regular tours as well. So well done, Skimmy. Well done, Skimmy. I also thought Balor
Bye bye Valor, because he dropped out.
Yeah. It was pretty evident that Balor kind of gave up after the OU game, after the OU fiasco. Balor just generally didn't care towards the end, and then boom, he ended up dropping out in the process. So yeah, that was the game. Moving on. Next up, one of the genuine upsets from this week. The one that people got surprised the most. People were talking about it. People were memeing about it. It was really funny to see. Pote beat Sylveon Use Calm Mind. A C tier player beating the one and only S tier player in this pool.
Well, that's your opinion, but yes.
Well, I gotta give Pote some credit here, because the OU game, Pote played it pretty dang well. Sylveon's team, though, kind of sus, because he brought hard OU stall, which I don't normally see from Sylveon. I know Sylveon can build like a vast variety of teams, but stall isn't something that I am particularly rooting for Sylveon in this case.
We've seen them bring it, though.
We have seen them bring it, and he did play some stall games to his perfection. But against this particular matchup, I'm like, this could go really badly if he didn't play this super well. And lo and behold, look what happened.
Well, what can we say? Pote had the good prep.
Pote did have some great prep. He played really very smartly with the sets. Gliscor was definitely one of the MVPs here. Allowing it to crucially knock off important items to allow Sylve to keep stalling. The Toxic Orb for Gliscor, Toxapex and Talonflame's Heavy Duty Boots, as well as Toxicking Talonflame, which Sylveon could have forced to switch out instead of just spamming Flamethrower on it.
Yeah, like after the first after it got knocked, or wait, was that after? I don't know, but
Yes, it was after.
one of those turns, I'm like, Sylveon, switch to Gliscor. He's going to use Toxic. This is your chance. And he didn't switch. And like I was right, he did use Toxic, but he did not. But Sylv did not switch into Gliscor and just let his Talonflame get Toxic.
Yeah, turn 16 is what you want to look at. And yeah, Talonflame could have been a real asset to this team. The King Gambit could have fallen. If he had a flying move, then Great Tusk would have fallen. But he didn't take it. He didn't take it. Ultimately, Pote kept chipping away with hazards while Sylveon was left in Dondozo and Blissey for stall. A very decisive win by Pote. I gotta give him credit. He played this well.
And the Velvet prep went hard.
It went hard against Sylveon, and ultimately it paid off. Very well done. NU was next, and this is an example of how Sylveon can use stall to his advantage and use it very well. This one was an incredibly bulky team. Defeating the Terra Steel bulk up Hariyama with Terra Ground Terra Blast Tatsugiri, which is
I think that's uncommon. Yeah. I don't think I've seen that.
I don't think I've seen that either. And if it's specs, then yeah, this would totally make sense if it carried Terra Blast. Outsmarting the Charm Chansey with knockoff Gudra and Avalugg, and having the Calm Mind Chansey outplay the Articuno Galar, among other things. So yeah, this was a team I'm generally happy with Sylveon bringing.
That wouldn't be my first time seeing Calm Mind Chansey.
Me neither. I have seen my fair share of Calm Mind Chanseys, and this one was a particular beast. Let's just run Psyshock on your Articuno Galars, guys. It 100% wins against the Calm Mind Chansey. Well, not all the time, but still. And then Ubers was next, which was interesting. Pote's Rabambi won against Sylvs pretty early on, using the Quiver Dance to block its pounce, and then winning the Speed Tie to kill it, allowing it to get webs off.
What do you mean it used the Quiver Dance to block pounce? It didn't do that.
No, what I mean is, like, it used Quiver Dance, and then Sylveon went for pounce after? Oh no. It basically used pounce. Just look at turn 6, because it used Quiver Dance, and then it used pounce after. The sash didn't help, and also the Moonblast kind of made it harder, allowing itself to just sash Rabambi in order to die.
I don't think I follow, and I don't think you follow either.
No.
Pounce didn't work.
Bounce just didn't work.
That's plain and simple.
Yeah, Bounce just didn't work. So Rabambi.
Yeah, that's because the Rabambi was it Shield Dust or Sweet Veil? Do those do the same thing? Or?
I believe they do the same thing. Please let us know in the comments if they do differently.
No, Makoi, we can literally check.
Alright, check away.
That lowers evasiveness. I get that confused with Aroma Veil sometimes.
I'm confusing Sweet Veil with Aroma Veil.
This
different.
Pokemon and its allies cannot fall asleep.
It's different. It's very different.
It's Rabambi then.
Okay, I can see it happening.
Which negates the secondary effects of moves, which is why Pounce didn't work.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot more sense then. Shield Dust Rabambi. That's why the Uberspain say that Rabambi teams work, because that can happen. Alright. I get it now.
Can't make them flinch. So, if you can't kill them with, a multi-hit move or something, Webs just goes up. Yeah.
Yeah, Uberspains, you got a point there. Alright, so Pote, who managed to get off Webs, despite the fact Sylveon also got off his, they further crippled Sylveon by that point by using Boots Basculegion to kill Arc Ground, using Kyogre, using Koraidon, to kill Kyogre with Low Kick, And then Terraflying Rayquaza just took care of the rest, having Earthquake from Miraidon, having Life Orb as well, and then Ditto just beat Zacian at the end.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, Terrifying Rayquaza. Look at that.
Interesting.
I forgot that happened.
It was interesting. I guess it's to remove the fairy weakness, but okay. And yeah, Ditto just beats Zacian at the end to won the game off of it. Well done, Pote! Again, genuinely surprised that he won. Again, I made even the comment that Medaya said that Sylveon to win the tour in before I jinxed him, and I said, yeah, that's a thing that aged well. Well done.
Yeah, they just said Sylveon to win the whole tour in before I jinx him, and then the very next post is Pope saying, won in a close series, good game.
You beat Sylv, and then I just said right after, top 10 things that aged well. Because yes, that is a hilarious moment.
I'm sorry, Sylv.
That is a hilarious moment in hindsight. Alright, next up. Fragments beating TGA. Surprised?
Nope.
I was expecting crickets, but yes, no. Frags beat TGA in 2. It wasn't even close. Doubles OU was first, with Fragments using a pretty inventive Trick Room team, using Deance's Trick Room, Diamond Storm, and Body Press combo to beat TGA's Sunny Day, Tornadus, and Fluttermane strats, taking out Iron Hands along the way. And then Terrafire Farigiraf beating Goldengo.
If you suspect your opponent is going to use something speedy and offensive, then Trick Room Diancie teams are a pretty good counter into that.
Yeah, as the doubles van, the Trick Room is something that's pretty plentiful because of the faster mons in the doubles meta, right?
I wouldn't say Trick Room is super plentiful, but it's a good counter into the currently speedy meta.
Yes, it's very speedy. So Trick Room is a very good building around that. As someone who's used the Trick Room team, you actually know everyone uses a Trick Room team at one point. What am I thinking? LC was next. TGA started off well, using Terra Ground Volibee to defeat Glamet, and using Coughing Well to duel Fungus and tank Mienfoo hits. It seemed TGA had the win, but a Crab Hammer miss caused Poniard to set up Swords Dance twice, Terra-fairing it to tank Mienfoo's high jump kick, and Fragments won with the reverse sweep.
Yeah, at one point during this game, I said, oh, it's just over. But then a few turns later, I found myself saying, oh, it's over for another reason.
It is over. The Crab Hammer miss. This is why you don't use Corphish in LC, because Crab Hammer just isn't reliable, guys. It's the same reason why
Well, the high jump kick,
yeah,
boy, does that mean we shouldn't...
It's the same reason...
Does that mean we shouldn't...
It's the same reason
we shouldn't use...
It's the same reason I just don't prefer high jump kick on Mienfoo. Just prefer close combat. Easily. And use Mienfoo in a less risky way than using high jump kick.
Well, Mikoi will...
I know high jump kick is better. I know. I just prefer close combat on it. Okay? Ever since I got that, it was good. Hot take. But yeah, Fragments gotta win.
Hot take, considering Mienfoo's been like one of the most used LC mons for like the past 3 generations or something.
4 or 5 generations, you mean? Or 4.
Well, I didn't play those. Well, I didn't play any LC that's older than Gen 7, so I wouldn't actually know.
Millennials. All right, next up.
That has nothing to do with it.
Botsy versus Seru is next. This went to 3 games, and oh boy, the NU game was very short, and yet, oh boy, things happened. Terra Electric Mesprit. MVP, or just very lucky for Seru to have. He used Psyshock to chip Chansey sufficiently, and then Thunderbolt just killed Klefki when Bati was using Calm Mind on it, and then just paralyzed Articuno Galar. Very short game that a Terra Electric Mesprit was just able to clean. OU was next, and Bati dominated in this matchup, having what was it, 5 boots against a web team?
Yes.
I believe this was the game that Sarah said, oh yeah, he loaded 5 mons with heavy duty boots against me. Okay. It wasn't very close. It wasn't very close at all. Tornadoes took out Goldango, Zamazenta, killed the King Gambit, and Amoongus beat both Great Tusk and Ogerpon to win. And then PU was next. Batsy piloting that Sun team very well, using Hatrem to bounce back Orthworm's Rocks attempt, and dismantling Muck with Charizard despite being knocked off the specs, or its specs knocked off. Seru terraing his Pyroar to Grass type was a bad idea, especially 1, it was playing against Sun, and 2, he had better mons to use the Terra.
Yeah, and he kind of terrored it for no reason, because,
There was no reason.
I don't know, what was he, why did he do that? What was he trying to resist that turn? You didn't become more resistant to grass or anything, you already resisted that.
Apparently, and I remember this conversation, it was so, because Seru saw that a lot of mons in Batsy's team had Stomping Tantrum, which... Huh? That isn't a good reason to Terra. Like, save the Terra for... What was it?
If you have a Skull villain on a Sun team, it's not running Stomping Tantrum, you dope.
No Skull villain. Running Stomping Tantrum on a Skull villain seems kind of detrimental to it, don't you think? So, yeah, it was a bad idea to Terra. He could have done better if he terra'd, like, for example, the Arboleva, or the Cryogonal, or even the Passimian even. Just not the Pyro. Or Pyro can do well against the Sun team without the Terra. Why are you forcing that? That's just weird. Terrafire Leafeon just carried through the end game for Batsy, using the Terra Blast to destroy Cryogonal, Solar Blade Passimian to a massive chip, allowing Batsy to win the game. So yeah. That was interesting. That was not a very good display there, buddy.
Besides, bro brought a Gabite. That's the ground attacker. He doesn't need any ground attacks on the Skull villain.
It's just a good wall. It's just a good wall and a good rock setter. And it carried Sunny Day, which, huh? All right. Next up.
Well, you see, most of the mons on the screen here carry Sunny Day, Mikoi.
I know. That's kind of an overabundance of sun, don't you think?
No, I mean they just learn it. I'm not saying that they're actually bringing it here.
Next up, Failbur versus 7U992. One of the few games that was played that both players decide, hey, we aren't going to turn public on. We're not going to have spectators watch our games. We're just going to have to play it ourselves in private. And who benefited from that? I'm not really sure. But I guess other than the winner. First game, it was UU, where 7U992 had the advantage from the start, using the Torkoal to rapid spin away hazards after Charizard lost its Scarf. Charizard itself taking out Weezing. His Amoongus tanking Sandy Shock's Terra Blast. Terra Ghost Iron Hands, managing to take the Masquerada's knockoff to beat it with Drain Punch. And then, yeah, so it seemed to me that 7992 just had this game down, right? Well, in the end, it came down to Cresselia Wars, where the both of them just had the calm mind and the stored power until Failverse managed to crit 7992's, forcing the win on Failverse side.
To be honest, in a battle between who gets a crit first, I would definitely bet on Failber.
Really? Have you seen Failber win with the crits that often?
No. I think Failber's just kind of a luckier player because he's a grinder. That just tends to coincide.
Well, I get that was just Failber's like last ditch effort. I thought Failber personally was getting desperate, so he had to just rely on the Cresselia to win. Lo and behold, Failber's Cresselia became a Deus Ex Machina and won against the 7982's Cresselia. So next,
if he can't actively kill a Cresselia, then
yikes, 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 yikes. Ubers was next, in which Arc Ground taking out Rabambi at the start, taunting it to prevent the stun spore until it was taken out by Arceus' E-Speed. Terra Ghost Koraidon, living off a Zacian's play rough to Oko it with low kick was interesting. And then Zacian just ended up swords dancing and sweeping the endgame. 7992 showing his Uber's prowess a little bit more. And then Doubles was next, where an early burn on Dragapult via Heat Wave was already pretty unlucky for Failber at the start. Failber double targeting both the Iron Hands and the Flutter Mane on consecutive turns was nice, leaving him with the Tornadus, I believe, or was it a Landorus?
In which, while watching it, I questioned how did 7992 win this?
It was
until I saw it happen. I'm like, that happened.
Yeah, so 7992 made an incredible play at the end here. So it was just left with the Chien Pao and the Ogre Pawn battling the Landorus. It had it Terra Flying. So you would think that 7992 is kind of screwed here because the Ogre Pawn and the Chien Pao, despite being intimidated, yeah, they would do some heavy damage and then leave it up to Palafin at the end to immediately kill it. Well, 7992 made an incredible play here at turn 8. Terra Blasting the Ogre Pawn, calling that protect on the Chien Pao and instead targeting the Ogre Pawn in order to kill it, saving the Chien Pao for last. And then Terra Blasting immediately the Chien Pao in order for Failber to be left with the Terra Grass Palafin, which was forcing it to Wave Crash, and then ultimately the Jet Punch didn't kill it. The Terra Blast ultimately killed it in order to win.
Basically, this came down to a 3v1, Failber side and 7U having only one. In which, that's why I was like, how did he win this?
And then
he made the call.
That call was brilliant.
He called the protect on the thing.
You've got to protect on the cat.
I think I sort of lost my train of thought.
No, go ahead.
Nico, I just said I lost my train of thought. What do you mean, go ahead?
Go ahead, and the Landorus called the switch on the cat. No, called the protect on the cat, and was thinking, hey, I could just target this instead. The Ogre Pawn is still free. Let's kill that instead, and then boom.
Yeah, I gotta say that was interesting because you wouldn't really see the ogre pawn as a threat normally, because like it's the grass ogre pawn.
Yes, grass fire to be exact.
Oh, it's
the hearth flame.
Yeah.
It's the hearth flame.
7, you brought the grass ogre pawn. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess Ivy Cudgel would have done a frick ton if that hit.
If Failbear brought a Wellspring, I think. Oh no, the rock one. He would have.
What?
The rock ogre pawn. He would have done a little bit better, but it's fine.
Who the hell brings rock ogre pawn?
That's just a me thing, okay? It's just a me thing.
You don't even play doubles.
I don't.
Nowadays.
I don't nowadays. Not yet. Anyway.
You're making baseless criticisms, and you don't actually play this. So your statements are false. You would not bring the rock ogre pawn.
I wish people would bring. I want to challenge that. If people would like to bring rock ogre pawn next time, please challenge. I dare you, doubles players. All right. Next up, Wesh versus JJ. This ended up being, personally, I think this was the best match of round 1. Like, all 3 games were pretty tight. They were pretty tight. OU, very evenly paced. Like, the OU game especially, that was the perfect description for Wesh versus JJ, in that it was very even, both playing expertly around. I didn't really have notes for that, because it was just very even. Very hard to call on which, on whoever side was being better. Expertly playing around each other and just making good predictions. Until Wesh foresaw that he had to set up the grass Rillaboom in order to bring in Sneasler safely in order to sweep JJ with the Sneasler setup. Very, very good style of play there from Wesh to allow to beat JJ in his best tier. RU, Wesh started off the stronger, setting all the hazards for JJ for him to take a while to remove them, and even having Encore on Tinkaton to counteract JJ's Gigaton Hammer attempts. And then problems kind of started for Wesh around turn 18, where Cyclizar was poisoned and missed a crucial Draco Meteor, allowing Gligar to live and Terra Ghost to block its Rapid Spin attempts, forcing it to die with 3 layers of spikes on the field. Then JJ kind of just started to take advantage at that point, trapping the Quagsire via Encore, forcing it to sack to a Zelf, and then Wo-Chien died to Slitherwing. And Fazanda PT was a last-ditch effort for Wesh. Terra Water for extra tanking, outstalling Vaporeon was pretty nice. However, some crucial 50-50 plays at the end cost him the game. And then LC happened. LC happened. Wesh's Meanfu being burned around the start was already kind of a bad omen for him. There was a Wattrel mirror matchup. I hate that. I hate that in LC, where it's just 2 Wattrels on the field, because it basically amounts to nothing.
They can't really hit each other properly, and they just roost.
The strongest attack they can do is Hurricane each other and maybe get the confusion, and then it's just a roost fest from here. They can't really Volt Switch because Volt Absorb. It was just, I hate that.
Or they can Volt Switch and it just ends up healing the other.
Right, Volt Absorb, because Volt Absorb exists. After Wesh,
I've seen a Wattrel mirror where they just kept Volt Absorbing each other, Mikoi.
I have too. I played that too, which is, it's not a good experience, okay? And then after Wesh critted the Glimmet with Air Slash with Terra Ghost Vullaby, JJ's matchup started catching up very quickly. Meanfu ended the game pretty quickly, even getting the crit kill on Coughing. So yeah, Wesh was mega tilted after that, and to the point where it caused a little bit of drama that, you know, ultimately Wesh dropped out, in quotes.
Yeah, I don't really know what Cap expected. Did he expect we interpret his what he was saying as a joke?
I don't know. I don't know either. I would not like to dwell on it either because it's kind of like, here's drama because and then yeah, it was ultimately ruled that he has been he has dropped from the tournament according to Axe, and Sub stepped in, which we will get to later. All right.
Well, yeah, you can't just say I would like to play after the round goes up and you're already supposedly out.
Yeah.
It's not how it works.
If you're out, you're out. If you're out, you're out. That's just sense. That's just common sense. Next up, Royal versus Velvet. This one was another pretty big upset considering the fact that we hyped up Velvet for so long and then ultimately she had to lose to Royal. Monotype, Mamoswine was kind of an early threat to Velvet's team, dishing out powerful icicle crashes to kill Sack Enamorous. Iron Tread's crucial heavy slam at turn 24 was enough to kill Articuno, as Velvet kind of needed that to outstall for her momentum to continue. The roll...
Yeah, like, that was a roll.
That was a roll.
That was a high roll.
Yeah, the Royal got the crucial high roll in order to kill Articuno. Velvet kind of needed that Articuno in order to tank hits. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't...
Velvet just flat out needed this Articuno for, like, tanking and damage.
Yeah, and ultimately, that kind of cost her. Royal then continued pressurizing Velvet at that point, having Ice Spinner on Great Tusk for measured kills, Quag outstalling the Dragon Knight.
Funny how you say pressurizing when Velv brought 2 pressure mons.
But yeah, how ironic that Royal was the one pressurizing her. Yeah, Quag outstalling the Dragon Knight and then just giving him the much needed win. I kind of expected Royal to win Monotype. It's just his nature. It's just a very given win that Royal would win Monotype. And Ubers happened, where Royal brought a really weird team. I was like, what the hell did he bring? Wheezing Galar? Arceus Steel? What?
Palkia Origin?
Palkia Origin? Like, these are really weird choices to bring in Ubers.
Would be even weirder if it was LC, as you were about to say.
Palkia and LC. Make that happen. Book it, Vince. Unlucky burn at turn 8 for Zacian as Palkia switched out to Rocky Helmet Landorus for the safe kill. It seemed Royal had the advantage, but Velvet started picking back up towards the late game with continuous outplays against the Hazard stack, and Koraidon kept in check for most of the endgame, leading to a 1v1, where a last-minute Terra Water Arceus beat the Terrafire Koraidon, which won Velvet the game. It was very human nature for Velvet to win Ubers. It's just her style. And then RU happened, where Royal loaded a sample.
Yep, but, samples are posted and made to use as public teams that are good, I guess.
It's supposed to be a practice one for new inexperienced players to try to get into the meta. Royal just somehow learned that in RU and beat Velvet with it, sweeping her with a Terra Steel Hariyama, Bulk Up, Bullet Punch, Drain Punch knockoff for the massive win.
Well, to be fair, I think Velv should have assumed that the Hariyama would be thick fat. I'm not sure.
Right.
She can would have done anything differently. But I think that's obvious when it's Terra's Steel.
Yeah, it's Terra Steel, and yeah, the fire moves weren't really doing anything. That's thick fat, 100% thick fat, and boom, yeah, Velvet kind of lost to that Hariyama very badly.
How come this sample didn't do anything for me in room tours, huh? This sample didn't work for me.
It was because it was in Royal Reluded's hands.
No, I'm pretty sure it's because this team doesn't actually match up super well into one of the hyper offense samples, and room tours spam that.
People are brainless. People want to use brainless spam. Next up, speaking of someone who constantly uses brainless spamming hyper offense for a living, Hellray versus LCAP. Hellray dominated LCAP, plain and simple, catching him on the switches, using Arcanine effectively against the Thunderous, and beating Crocodile and outplaying anything. Just outplaying LCAP 100% in RU. It was pretty clear Hellray is the RU experienced veteran here.
Well, yeah, he was doing really well in RU tours and quals.
So it was just another evidence of that. LC was much more evenly paced. LCAP used the Terra Dark Poniard well enough to beat the Mudbray, coughing, immediately waking up to kill Flabebe, and even Corphish. This is an example of Corphish being used well in LC. Boom, right here. Terra Steel, Minfu, and Fungus were not safe towards the end when LCAP spammed the Corphish.
Okay, but why did Hellray bring a Flabebe?
I have no idea. I have literally no idea. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, what does that do?
I mean, it does a pretty nasty Moon Blast, and a Terra Blast even, if you want to Terra it. I think it learns Psychic. I'm not sure. But yeah, don't bring Flabebe in LC. It's practically bad. And then Ubers happened, where Terra Ghost Ursaluna was the MVP, immensely helping Hellray throughout this game, being under screens and belly drumming its way to sweep LCAP's Mons. This
game was hilarious.
Annihilate, beating Eternatus by a Fire Blast miss, how poetic, and Miraidon dying to Life Orb damage to win. So yeah, LCAP lost to Hacks. And bad matchup. With a Terra Ghost Ursaluna to boot. But unfortunately, that means a prediction wrong for me, so who really wins?
Me, because I predicted right.
Alright, next up, speaking of another prediction I got wrong, TDR losing to Genius from Hoenn. Despite being in 3, though. Despite it was in 3. Ubers was first, with TDR bringing an interesting team, including a Mousehold and a Roselli Berry Miraidon, which came into play. What do you think of that? What do you think of the sets TDR brought?
I think they were interesting, to say the least.
Despite that,
I mean, Roselli Berry Miraidon makes sense, at least.
Yeah, but bringing the mouse into Ubers, I know it can be good when it's a niche team, but like, how serious are you gonna bring the mouse into Ubers? Despite that, though, despite seeing the interesting team, Hoenn was still able to play successfully, using the Arc Fairy to kill Miraidon and Grimmsnarl, and using the Skeledirge as the MVP, burning the Mousehold immediately, and then just walling Terrafire Koraidon enough to kill it. Very, very cool. OU was next, which Terra Fairy Enamorous was MVP, able to sweep through Hoenn's team with relative ease against Manaphy, which, You even commented how well Manaphy can do in OU. We didn't get to see jack of that.
Well, Mikoi, I commented such because you were wondering why it's even here.
Yeah, why is it even here in OU? I got the answer, and yet we didn't get to see it in play here, which is really funny. It even did good damage against the resisted Scizor and the Great Tusk. That Terra Fairy Namorous was ballin'.
Yeah, that was Specs Terra Fairy. Had to be.
Yeah, had to be. Garganackle effectively walling the Moltres Galar despite the boosts, and Sneasler not having acrobatics killed all momentum for Hoenn as Amoonguss just kind of walled it to death. This is why if you have a Sneasler and you want to build it around a grassy terrain team, you should always have acrobatics on it. I'm just saying. Alright, and NU happened, in which Hoenn made good predictions around the beginning, beating the Articuno Galar with Passimian, forcing TDR to switch a lot because Future Sight, and even consistently walling Hariyama with Palisand. In the end, despite claiming some kills, Hoenn was consistently ahead of TDR in Mons and in play, ending off with Sucker Punch Skuntank beating the Terra Water Bruxish for the win. You even commented
bringing a Dark type and a Storm Drain Mon into a Bruxish definitely helps.
Yeah, definitely helps. You even commented on the fact that had TDR played his Bruxish well, he could actually win this game.
Yeah, I was saying that I think it'll depend on how he plays his Bruxish. Because, like, it's gonna be hard to get proper damage. So it's gonna definitely be hard to get proper damage, like with Wave Crash / Psychic Fangs, given we got 2 opposing Mons that resist Psychic Fangs, 1 that's immune, and one opposing Mon that absorbs the water attacks.
It was interesting, yeah. So yeah, when you put it that way, Bruxish was basically like at a disadvantage by that point. So yeah, Hoenn was smart enough to have that and ultimately won the game. All right, next up, talk about your series versus Nimzo. First off, Ubers.
Oh man, do I have to talk about that?
Well, okay, explain your thought process with this first game here, because you kind of started decently enough. Arceus taking...
No, I didn't.
Well, no, the Arceus taking out the Great Tusk immediately, so no rapid spin can take place. Lando eliminating Zacian was a pretty good start for you. And then you had problems starting right around, probably with, let's see, right around here, when Arceus grounded, you had that against your sub-Terra flying Zacian.
Miko, I think you're kind of waffling here, because
okay, you explain
some of what you're saying isn't even true.
Oh, what you explain it?
Great Tusk did rapid spin, and I don't think I ever got rocks back up.
Well, actually, maybe it was on the other side, but you know what? It was kind of like meh. It was kind of hard to take around that. And then, of course, you had to contend with the Dragon Claw Arceus ground against your Terraflying Zacian.
I didn't expect that. I was confused.
Even though even though people said in the chat that it was the normal Arceus ground set, Dragon Dance taught Dragon Claw Earthquake, even though Shadow Claw is what most people would prefer because Skeledirge.
Huh? No,
or no,
not
Giratina.
Shadow Claw. That's even stupider.
No. Because of Giratina Origin, I mean. Because of Giratina Origin.
No, Meekly. That's why it runs Dragon Claw.
Well, people are split. Dragon Claw is better, Shadow Claw is better, whatever. Because
Dragon Claw's obviously better. It does more.
well, Shadow Claw does critical hits. So who really wins?
Well, it doesn't crit most of the time, so Dragon Claw's still very consistently better.
Well, consistently, you mean. Alright,
That's what I just said. I
Nope.
literally just said consistently.
Alright, so, yeah, the Arceus breaking your Terraflying Zacian sub, and the taunt, so no chances of Sword Stance. Although losing it to Sucker Punch King Gambit after taunting it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was like thinking for a moment, like, do I Sucker Punch again?
Well, you kind of have to.
No, I don't have to. He could be playing mind games with me, like he might just Dragon Dance, and then we mind game for a few turns, and then he out mind games me and kills it on a turn I decide to somehow not Sucker Punch. But I figure, I don't really lose anything by Sucker Punching a second time, do I?
Yeah, in fact, you actually gained yourself a kill because you killed Dark Ground shortly after.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it worked? I didn't expect that to actually work.
In the end, though, Nimzo had Koraidon and Screens Up, and you kinda fumbled the end game with a poorly timed U-turn at turn 25 to just kind of give.
Nah, in hindsight, you cannot blame me for that U-turn. My thinking is,
Okay.
There's no way he risks losing his Koraidon here, right? I'm Scarf Koraidon. It would be detrimental if he lost his Koraidon.
Which, yes, Nimzo did do pretty well in keeping it alive at least.
Then again, he hadn't terrored yet, right?
No, he didn't. No, he did not.
So I suppose the logic was, get Screens Up by Grimmsnarl, even if Koraidon dies, Miraidon just handles what's left of my team, I guess, by terroring.
I think that was
Probably?
the idea. Yeah, I think that was the idea. Unless you want to disprove that, let me know in the comments below. All right, next up.
Yeah, I guess I was just under the impression that he would save Koraidon, so that's why I expected a Grimmsnarl switch in there, in which I wanted to call by U-turning out into King Gambit, which would allow me to get a free Iron Head if he decides to send in like Koraidon again, and then it would die.
I see. Okay, I see the end game now. Okay. All right.
Would have been nice, but I didn't. I guess they hadn't terrored yet, so they didn't actually need to save it.
All right. Next up is the doubles game, which you just kind of dominated Nimzo. You just really took your frustrations out on Nimzo after losing that Ubers game, so you said, "Forget doubles."
What can I say? Even though it was the tier I locked and probably the tier I was best at here, I actually prepped best for doubles.
Yes, because the team here actually worked against Nimzo's team a lot. The Trick Room and Ursaluna was very advantageous on your part, including a well-timed ally switch on turn 5. I like that. And then Ursaluna...
Well, I mean, I knew he was gonna try and Grassy Glide my Ursaluna, so...
You could have expected maybe like a Protect or something, but like, no, you actually called it by going for the ally switch there, which was pretty neat.
I mean, I knew he was gonna attack that turn.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just straight up kill that. I want to kill that Rillaboom to get rid of all my problems.
And then boom, the Cocaine Bear actually swept the rest of Nimzo's team. Cress provided the initial support, Amoongus was provided the extra, and then boom, you just won by that point.
Also, besides, I had already protected the turn before, so
Yeah, you were at the most advantageous position by that point, so it wasn't that hard, honestly. You also lived on 1 here on the Qianpao, but I would guess that would be your
oh yeah,
investment.
my logic was also that I figured he might earth power into that slot, like he might double target the crest. I mean, no, the Ursa Luna since it's in that slot. So I decided, well, how about you double target the Cresselia, because Earth power can't hit Cresselia.
Yeah. And then it just so happens that it happened, and then boom.
Yeah.
And so the Fluttermane in the back just for a low-hanging Orcapon, and boom, you won. Good job. Proving once again that doubles is like a silent killer in these TLT tiers.
Yeah, I have done this before, making it a little bit further than I probably would have, thanks to blocking doubles and beating players who were better than me in it.
In singles, but in doubles, you're superior.
Well, in singles, yeah.
And then OU happened. OU was the last game. Terra Water Clefable was nice. Well, it was nice being able to tank Golden Goes, make it rain. It was cool. Weird play happened at turn 19 where Ogerpon went for Ivy Cudgel against the Terra Water Clefable, allowing it to kill it and Dragonite via the Encore Moonblast. I don't know why.
Realistically, going for Ivy Cudgel there should have been Nimzo throwing away the game.
Right? That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for him to power whip. Ivy Cudgel. He was expecting a switch. What? Okay, that's fine. And then, of course, the end game happened, where I thought you had the advantage, but I forgot that he had a King Gambit, which was Supreme Overlord, and thus could do massive damage to you.
You see, my main mistake was letting Gliscor get low. See,
that too. Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to test the team. I wasn't too familiarized with it yet. I didn't realize my Gliscor was specially defensive and not physically defensive, so I underestimated what the King Gambit would do to it.
Yeah, also the catch here of the in turn 23 where you went for low kick against the King Gambit, which you would, okay, fair enough, you would expect it to not Terra, but it did Terra into the Terra Flying, which, yeah.
Also, I don't know what per se Nimzo was expecting out of that T-Tar, because you don't normally see T-Tar in OU. You don't know what that's running, right?
How ironic is Tyranitar?
I highly doubt they were expecting low kick.
Yeah, me neither. No, no one would expect T-Tar to have a low kick.
They were probably expecting Earthquake, I'd imagine.
Maybe, yeah. How ironic. How ironic is that statement? You don't see T-Tar in OU that much. That is ouch. 3 or 4 generations from now when you're speaking from it, I'm like, whew.
But yeah, that was a match I could have pretty easily had.
Yeah, you had
I'd known my own team a bit better.
Yeah, because the Skeledirge had to wall and get lower damage the more it did Kowtow Cleave, and then yeah, towards the end, the Golden Gull just kind of went and sweeped everything else. Yeah,
if my Gliscor was still healthy, and had I just sacked the Galarian Slowbro or Slowking immediately rather than letting Gliscor take all that first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could have won. You could have won, yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, the Gliscor was equipped to deal with Golden Goes.
Right. That is especially special defensive Gliscor, able to take Golden Ghost hits very well. Unfortunate.
And also, yeah, it was a bit of a mistake to let Clefable get low when that could have also very easily defeated the King Gambit and hell, even the Golden Go.
Yeah, that was also my thinking. If that Clefable was just just had some health, able to tank the hits. Yeah, you could have very
In
easily.
hindsight, it's a pretty obvious play to just go into Galarian Slowking on the turn that Iron Valiant Thunderbolted. But, like, I didn't know what the Iron Valiant was gonna do. I didn't expect it to bring, like, Clefable low.
Yeah, you don't normally expect Thunderbolt.
I'm at +1 on both defenses by this point. What's it gonna do?
Right. No one would expect Iron Valiant to just immediately Thunderbolt straight out of the gate.
Yeah, most of them don't run that.
Yeah, not at all. But yeah, you're now in the losers bracket, and that's also another wrong prediction on my part. Fudge. Speaking of, next up is a matchup that nobody really expected, and really could have gone to whatever. Keshba versus TMM. First up was Ubers, which Keshba piloted well against Clodsire in the first few turns, removing its hazards while Terra stealing Giratina for extra pressure. TMM's Terra Dragon Miraidon Okoing a Tinglu was interesting, but Keshba's Fluttermane killing Gliscor and critting Arc Water was still a pretty bad sign. Ultimately, Koraidon's low kick did such good damage to the remaining mons on TMM's side, getting rid of Kali Ice and TMM hard switching a lot to a fault, thus claiming the game for Keshba. I didn't like the way TMM was hard switching a lot towards the end. That maybe you could have stayed in for a little bit more extra damage, but you know what? And then Yu happened, which it was a very short game. TMM burning a belly drum Azumarill for good measure, but ultimately it was the Moxie Salamence that swept him, including a notorious crit on turn 11 against the Slowking Galar, with Crawdon and Amoonguss couldn't break and kill it with Aqua Jet and Foul Play respectively. Moxie Salamence just destroyed everything.
I'm watching this back. Let me see.
You see it?
I thought TMM just lost to the Azumarill, but I guess not.
Me too. From what I saw, I was like, okay, crap. TMM's just going to lose to Azumarill. But no, once he got that burn off, he had a chance. And then no, Salamence just appeared. It's like, hi.
But it really seems to me that Azumarill just kind of kills everything in this tier in one hit, and you can only beat it via terraing into what you predict it will use and attacking it.
Right. That's the only way you can beat Azumarill without the use of burn or haze or whatever you can beat an Azumarill at. Alright, next up. Oh boy, Siphicon versus Elrog. This kind of gets hard to talk about in hindsight, but let's go through the games regardless. First off was LC.
Yeah, that was one of the few things I hadn't seen until today.
Alright, Siffy, the first game was LC, which Siffy used a pretty effective Hail team. Using Glimmet for hazard stack and claiming kills against Zorua and Cyndaquil. Snover taking out Mudbray was pretty nice, and Sandshrew got to rapid spin its own hazards away, and it even took out a pretty nasty shell-out set. The Curse, Amnesia, Recover, Liquidation, although it was hampered by poison. And tanking Mienfoo with Coughing in order to win.
That was an interesting Shiloh set, yeah.
I feel like we've seen that before. Or it was maybe Gastrodon. Next was Ubers, which Sify tried to use the Terraflying Zet for the Terraflying Zacian set for the first few turns, but a play rough miss on turn 8 allowed Rabambi to break its sub, forcing the switch out. That was kind of unfortunate. Then Skeledirge.
I really don't understand why you would do that. Like, there are, like, just use something that won't miss and risk it once you're just start risking it when the other mons come in, man.
Yeah, use the Behemoth Blade. Why didn't you do that? Or the Terra Blast if you had that. Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think he had that.
Alright, Skeledirge tried to wall Koraidon Scale Shots, only taking back Excalibur to do decent damage and high rolls to eventually kill it. And then Zacian just kind of won the game for Elrog, so reverse sweeping and hitting the play roughs. And then Monotype happened, which Sify once again used Ice to win, dominating Elrog, who had Dragon, using one layer of Spikes on Frostlass, outplaying the Dragapult with Ninetales as Encore, and Banded Mamoswine's Ice Shard, sweeping the rest.
Yeah, this was just domination.
And Sify had to use 2 Ice Mons in order to win his games. That's something you normally see every day. But yeah.
Also, Mikoi, it wasn't just Banded Mamoswine, it was Banded Shenpao too.
Yeah, oh, I forgot. Sificon also brought Banded Shenpao. He had 2 choice bands, Mon.
I think they both ran Ice Shard too.
Yikes! That's a one-hit KO on any Dragon-type team. But yeah, Sificon ultimately picked up the win. Elrog, unfortunately, due to certain circumstances that we won't go into, has been disqualified from TLT, and another sub has taken his place. What a hard first round, having 1, 2, 3 players drop out of TLT in round 1. You don't normally see that, especially with a 32-man pool. Alright, next up, Taka versus Trout in Space. Ubers was first. Very short game. Taka played around Trout fairly consistently. Again, the Terra Flying Zacian paying off with the Swords Dance and the Substitute and the Behemoth Blade in order to finish Trout off. Doubles was next, and despite Taka using Terra Dragon Goldengo to tank Iron Hand's hits, Trout having Flutter Mane was his trump card, allowing it to sweep Taka using Glamora as hazard support, Tornadus having Sunny Day for photosynthesis. And then Yu happened where Taka just dominated Trout using the Terra Fire Iron Leaves to immediately claim kills on Sandy Shocks and Scizor, while his own Scizor was mostly kept in check for Quaquaval and low-hanging Tornadus at the end. Very good win by Taka. Very dominant. Alright, I know you didn't have much to say on that. It was just a normal Taka win, wasn't it?
Well, that, and I also got distracted by looking at the memes channel of the Taurus disc because there was a new message.
Okay. It was just meh. Next up, Soulstorm versus Arcanine 1929. This one was one of the weirder games to happen. One of the weirder series to happen in this round because it was between Tour's room regulars who hadn't really had much experience in a big tour such as TLT, and then was forced to play here, forced to play against each other, and they brought some weird things. First off, PU was played. Swanna doing some work in the early turns, crit Okoing the Indeedee and Terraflying to kill off the Articuno. Soulstorm had perfect opportunities to take this game due to a lucky para on the muck at turn 22, along with having Quiver Dance, Terra Ground, Vivian. But Muck dodging the paralysis and Vivian getting poisoned just allowed Arcanine to win the game.
I like how you say that, and it makes it sound like a mon that he brought it was Arcanine and it won the game, but no, that wouldn't be
Arcanine, Arcanine and PU confirmed. The teardrop Arcanine to PU. Let's see what happens. All right. Monotype was next. A very short game that allowed Soul Storm.
Also, Mikoi, I think you forget a part of the PU game in which it was actually very necessary for Soulstorm to get off to Quiver Dances. Do you know why?
Why?
Well, he would have been outsped by the Swanna otherwise, because that was a Scarf Swanna.
Oh, that's right. He had a Scarf Swanna. Again.
Which means Arcanine numbers brought at least 2 Scarfers.
Weird. Again, I wasn't kidding when I said weird sets were of Blaze, but here we are. So yeah.
Jam and Swanna as Scarfers here.
Yeah, Swanna. So just bringing Swanna regardless, not let alone the fact that it is Scarf. Monotype was next in a short game that saw Soulstorm use Mamoswine pretty effectively against Flying. A couple of hard switches.
Wait. Can we just say, this looks familiar?
Oh, that's right.
That's right. I've heard the same old story over and over again.
Yes, it's the same old story over and over. Yeah. Couple of the Mamoswine won against the Flying team. Couple of hard switches from Arcanine that could have been better played, and Blood Moon killing the Articuno at the end.
I like how Soulstorm specifically used the team Royal Reloaded brought to Velvet.
Right?
It is actually that same team.
Right? It's almost like... Well, I'm not gonna say. It's almost like it was just a mirror. But yeah.
What?
No, it was nothing.
No, it was literally that team. I'm pretty sure he said that he asked for the team.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that. Okay. And then NU happened, in which turn 8 saw Scyther's Eviolite allowing itself to live on 1 HP.
Oh yeah, Eviolite Scyther. What the...
Yeah, you never expected Eviolite Scyther to make a thing, make an appearance here, but turn 8 allowed it to live on 1 HP against the Icicle Clash Glastrier. I don't know why. Arcanine's Terra Ghost Decidueye ended up becoming the MVP, allowing it to work alongside its previously entered hazards to set up. Although it did struggle against Chansey, which Soulstorm could have tried to outstall and won the game.
You can't really outstall with a Chansey.
I mean, you can't really hit the Chansey either with Decidueye, can you?
You can. It had Leaf Blade.
Oh, it did have Leaf Blade. Well, he could have tried to at least outstall.
Leaf Blade did nothing though.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
So what I don't get why you didn't try to para it earlier and try to, kill it earlier.
It was doing jack. And...
Did a little too late, I think.
Yeah, too late realization there, which allowed Soulstorm to lose and Arcanine numbers to move on. Next, last up in round 1, we had Tanish versus Ineffable. First game was doubles, which Ineffable played this game a bit better. outsmarting the Landorus with a Terra Ghost Heatran substitute and trapping it with a Magma Storm. Able to screen it up with Grimmsnarl for extra tanking, and even beating Weakness Policy Terra Grass Diancie under Trick Room with double protect plays and just using Roaring Moon. It's very, very clear who the doubles player is. Next up was RU, in which Tanish Terra Ghosting Gligar in turn 9 factored into this game a whole lot, as it was able to get off a Toxic to Cyclizar, who weirdly stayed in to knock off the Eviolite instead of switching out immediately. You could have maybe kept the Cyclizar into not getting Toxic.
No, it's understandable that you'd knock off the Gligar, or perhaps even think there's no way he stays in and gets his Gligar knocked, right? But he did.
Maybe, but again, for something as valuable as a Cyclizar, because it is the Rapid Spinner, it is something that you can reliably put upon to get in some good damage every once in a while. You'd think maybe you could preserve that a little bit better, but no.
Well, it's already got some self-preservation built in.
Thanks to regen, I know. Tanish ended up playing better though, having his Mons tank hits fairly well. For example, the Gligar tanking Talonflame's Brave Bird to get off a Toxic, Noivern living Brave Bird 2, but on a plus boosted, but it was also plus boost 2 boosted to get off a Roost. And then able to burn Hippowdon with Slitherwing, and then tanking Lycanroc hits with Vaporeon for the win. Tanish beating a Sand RU team fairly well.
Well, yeah, Tanish is the RU main here.
Yes, he is an RU main, which is pretty understandable. And then NU happened. Interesting for Tanish to start with the speed boost on Tatsugiri. Who then proceeded to Nasty Plot and Draco Meteor to Oko the Mesprit, which I find very, very funny. And you know what? It's a very clever strat in the early game. Tanish then kept the dominance after, just using the Terra Fairy Piloswine to resist Scyther's boosted close combats, having Hoopa out against Endeavor Lycanroc, and then his own Scyther, just cleaning the endgame.
I gotta say, I found it interesting how many people predicted Inafable would win this. Yet, I didn't think so. We didn't think so.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, because we clearly know Tanish is good at singles, but I think people were just hyping him up because Inafable is actually pretty decent at doubles, but Tanish is better at singles, so...
I think Irene's name change made people forget that they're not actually that good.
Yeah, it's Irene 2002, people. Inafable's old name.
Yeah, Irene was never really struck me as all that good.
Yeah.
And you, that was versus Floor and Floor 1.
Yeah, like Irene never really struck out to me. Yeah, Irene never really struck out to me as a higher than a C- tier player or some kind. So yeah, that explains why the tier placement. So before we move on to round 2, let me give you a little bit of statistics. First of all, for how many times a tier has been played in round 1, with Ubers winning with 9 times that it has played. Over half the games had at least one Ubers game played.
Bleh.
OULC doubles then tied with 6, and then the weakest was PU, because no one wanted to play PU. Damn.
Well, yeah, everyone hates that tier right now.
Yeah,
it's
damn.
gross.
Yeah, damn privileged players here, never thinking PU was a actually good tier. Blah. Blah. Alright. Then, PokeArt, kindly announce who won in predictions.
Out of everyone or just us?
Well, we could do us first, and then we'll count everyone because because it wasn't just us who were predicting. A lot of people predicted for round one, and we would like to comment on that. But first, between us, who won?
Well, I won with 9 out of 15 because I didn't actually predict my own match.
Mm-hmm.
And Meat Koi got second with 7 out of 16.
Yeah, fairly. Not even half. That's like a 40. By estimates, that would be like a 46, 47% correct predictions rate.
I mean, that's just what happens when you personally believe in LCAP.
Wow. Man. All right. Announce who else. What the other people's scores are.
Okay, 1 minute. Gonna pull those up. I made a list.
Yeah, you did make a list.
Okay, now here are the overall results for Week 1 predictions.
Yep.
Fragments, 10 out of 15. Pretty damn good.
Pretty dang good. Fragments, 10 out of 15. Not bad.
Give, 10 out of 16.
Also not bad, considering I didn't get to see him, but that was good on you, Geo.
Well, yeah, she DM'd me them, that's why.
Yeah, I know.
Tanish, 9 out of 15.
Interesting that Tanish got more than me, but well, you know what? It's fine. Where are his predicts? There you are.
And then there was me, who got also 9 out of 15, same as Tanish. And then there was you, who got the 7 out of 16, as we just mentioned. And then Yoko, 7 out of 16.
Why did I tie Yoko? Why did... That shouldn't happen.
Hey, at least it's not doing worse than Yoko, which about 3 people did. Valor, 6 out of 15.
Yikes. 2 out of 2/5.
Yeah, well, part of his problem was that he didn't actually predict for some of the matches. He just said, he just basically called them even.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, that doesn't benefit your score.
But
Obviously, he wasn't trying to, like, compete or anything. He was just saying what he thought.
Yeah.
Anyways, Arcanine numbers, 4 out of 16.
1/4. Only 25%. Not bad, I guess.
No, what do you mean, not bad?
For him. For Arcanine.
That is literally half of what should be considered an average.
I can't believe we're calling half average. Okay. Fair enough. But he isn't the worst because...
Surreal, 3 out of 16.
Wow, surreal. He made some...
Well, again, same issue. There was a lot of matches he didn't outright predict for. They just called even and didn't actually give a decisive answer.
But he also made, some decent predictions.
Yeah, he also got a lot wrong, though.
Yeah, he did get a lot wrong. He made some decent predictions that surprised everyone. Alright. Now, let's get on to the real meat of the thing. The meat and potatoes, that is TLT 7 round 2 with the winner's bracket and the loser's bracket, where 3 games have already been played because people are too impatient nowadays.
Wait, 3?
3 games have been played for...
Nah, I think you're,
Look at the bolded ones. Look at the bolded thread nowadays.
Oh, yeah, 3. Right.
3 games have been played.
Hunter happened.
Yes. All right. Well, are we still gonna count? Despite them being clear as day, are we still gonna count who we thought would win?
Yes.
All right, same as always. First off, in the winners bracket, Penter versus Skimmy the God, which, yes, your eyes does not deceive you, Penter actually won.
I would have predicted Skimmy, so god damn it.
Me too. I would have honestly predicted Skimmy, but yeah, god damn it is the perfect way to describe this. Next up, Fragments versus Prince of All Tacos.
Well, one of the tiers they're playing is doubles, so that's an automatic 1-0 for Fragments, so I think Fragments will win.
What are the other tiers that they're playing though? I don't actually know actually.
I think they said it somewhere.
Me too. I just don't know where to look. Where the frick did they look? They said. Mono DOU RU. Okay. Yeah, that's still a Fragments win. Like, Poe could win Mono, but I think Fragments is doubles. Definitely makes him a 1-0 immediately. And RU, he's actually decent in RU, so yeah.
Yeah, Fragments is actually good at RU from what I remember.
So yeah, I would think this would be a Fragments win. Agreed?
Yes, agreed.
Next up, we got Botsy versus 7U9I2.
Interesting.
Did they say what the hell they locked?
You can check their smoking walls, but I don't know if they said it publicly anywhere.
No, I don't think they would. I don't think they would say it anywhere. Yeah, the latest thing was him adding, well, their Discord. They're gonna schedule on Discord.
Oh, yeah. I guess.
We have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
So we can now only guess. So, I still think Batsy would win.
You think so?
Yeah, I think his OU game is stronger. The rest of the tiers, I think he would be stronger. Ubers, 7U9I... the 7U9I2's only saving grace is Ubers, but the rest, Batsy just clowns on 7U9I2, even especially Monotype and OU.
I feel like saying clowns is a bit harsh, considering 7U9I2 did quite well last week.
Oh, he'll still take him to 3 games. I don't doubt that, but yeah, this ought to be a Batsy win for me.
Yeah, you know what, I'll agree. I wasn't sure before, but I'll agree now. Batsy.
Yeah. Next up, JJ versus Royal Reloaded. And yes, the eyes did not deceive you. JJ would still win.
Yeah, I predicted JJ anyways, so...
Me too.
Woohoo.
Yeah, me too. Even though I find it funny that I'm still getting flack for calling JJ B+ tier. Like... It's the Jujutsu Kaisen effect. To me, it feels like the Jujutsu Kaisen effect, where a thing I notice is still good. I still recognize that it's good. I just don't think personally it's as good as everyone says. As everyone says he is. Like, yes, I acknowledge the fact that JJ is good at OU. He could be decent if given the proper prep. He could legitimately be A tier, but to me, and you can disagree with me all you want, I still think he's B+. Like, he's not on the same level as a lot of people said, oh, he's SCL player level. No, from what I've seen, no, he's not at that level yet. He's up there, but he's not there yet.
Basically, just say he's close.
He's close. But he's not there yet. Again, Jujutsu Kaisen all over again. It's a better discussion.
I feel
Huh?
Like comparing this to your Jujutsu Kaisen hate is a little odd and funny.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. JJ Jujutsu Kaisen, it makes sense. Definitely a better discussion than saying, "Oh, I'm bad at Mon, so my opinion is invalidated." That to me is baseless accusation and criticism. So that I don't care. So that criticism I don't care about.
You are kind of bad at Mons, though.
Shut up. Next up, Let's Rumble Shall We versus Genius from Hoenn. All right. Again, I don't think that they scheduled here, at least. I don't see any public sayings of them playing what tiers. So,
I think Genius from Hoenn wins.
Yeah. I would say Let's Rumble Shall We takes RU, Genius from Hoenn takes Ubers, and for the other tier, I still think Genius from Hoenn would still be better in a lot more tiers than Let's Rumble Shall We. So I'm gonna pick Genius from Hoenn as well. Alright, next up, Nimzowitch versus Keshba. This one is about to be interesting. Actually, no. Well, wait a minute. Genius from Hoenn and Let's Rumble Shall We actually did post their tiers. It's Ubers, UU, and NU. Huh.
Oh yeah, Genius definitely wins.
Oh, you think so? You still think Genius from Hoenn wins?
Yeah. One of the tiers he beat TDR in was NU, wasn't it?
That's right. Well, it's not changing my prediction. I still think Genius from Hoenn wins. So I don't know. I don't know what you're implying, PokeArt. All right. Next up, Nimzowitch versus Keshba. This one is kind of hard because we don't realistically know how well these players do. Like off the top of your head, what would you say? What would you say Nimzowich's best tier is, and what is Keshba's best tier? We don't know. We don't know a damn thing.
Yeah, I don't really know what Nimzo's best tier is. It's I don't know if it's actually Ubers, despite the fact that's what they locked versus me.
Yeah, and Keshba's the same. Keshba's the same. Like I don't know what his best tier is either. So we're just going off of base of who performed more, and I would like to say that, yeah, Nimzo wins.
If Nimzo tries to prep for what Keshba does, then I would say Nimzo probably wins, but I think there's better odds of Keshba prepping against what Nimzo does, because,
That is interesting, yeah. Nimzo should not be sleeping on Keshba, because there's a possibility of there being a choke fest that will happen, which you don't want that. You don't want that to happen, so... What do you think?
I think upon thinking about it, while I think Nimzo might be the better player, I feel like Keshba will bring better things here because, well, spoiler alert, literally all Nimzo does is bring HO. That's all they do, ever.
That's what you noticed? That's what you noticed when you played him?
Yeah, why do you think I brought, like, balance in OU? And why do you think I brought Diancie Trick Room in doubles? It was because I knew he brings fast HO.
Alright, fair enough. Alright. So are you actually going with Keshba on this one?
I think so.
Alright, Keshba it is for you. I'm still thinking Nimzo...
Like, again, I think Nimzo is probably better and could easily win this if they bring decent teams, but I don't think they're invested enough to actually do that.
Also, Keshba beat TMM. So that should be already a blanket sign that Kesh might take this one.
Besides, I don't know what Nimzo locks versus Cash here.
Alright, next up. This one's about to be a highlight if played right. Siffy versus Taka.
Nah, that's just a Taka win.
Wow, already? Already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. This isn't a question.
Okay, personally, this is me scatterbrained here thinking. I want to see if they lock tiers. I don't think so. Yeah, nothing here. Here's the thing. Taka's good at the high tiers, like Ubers, OU, UU. He's good at those. Siffy, more preferably, likes to do LC, Monotype. He can do a little bit of Ubers as well, as you saw from his last round. But while I acknowledge the fact that
Siffy can also do doubles to
Yes.
some extent.
Yeah. That to me screams a lot that Siffy knows a lot more better, is more versatile in those tiers than what Taka has going for. I'm gonna pick Sifficon on this one, due to the fact that I generally acknowledge that Taka is good and could easily take this if his tiers are what you that could be easily taken into like beating Sifficon in. Sifficon has a lot more range. Has a lot more like variety when it comes to tiers he's actually good at, other than Taka. So, yeah, I think Siffy wins here.
Nah.
Well, the tiers matter, okay? The tiers matter. That's the big
And you
thing.
see, that's another thing, Mikoi. Taka will have slightly more control over what they play than Siffy.
In the high tiers, but in the low tiers and doubles, Siffy will
No,
win.
that's not what I mean. I mean in terms of the locking process, because he's the higher seed.
Oh, that's right. I've almost forgot to take into effect the
You see,
higher tiers.
Choosing last can be pretty crucial.
It can be very detrimental. Yeah.
You see, well, Siffy gets to lock first and ban stuff first. Ultimately, it will be Taka who decides between the last two tiers which they will play, and it will be to his preference.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a little bit more strategic thinking away about it. I still think Siffy wins, though, but it would to each their own. We, again, agree to disagree.
Taka's just better, though.
Yeah, Taka's a better player, but I think Siffy has the more range. I already explained this. Alright, next up.
Yeah, but like Taka can play most things. Was actively in quals, playing everything.
He is learning all the tiers, which I appreciate. Alright, next up. Arcanine versus Tanish.
Vanish.
Yeah. Even looking at their tiers and what they'll play, they're gonna play NU, PU, doubles. I think Arcanine would be the one to lock doubles because Tanish is bad at it. But yeah, Tanish takes this. Tanish is a better singles guy. On a better day, Tanish would easily clap Arcanine numbers.
Yeah.
Alright, losers bracket time. First off, Geov97 versus Amstan, the sub of Balor. So, who is Amstan? I legitimately don't know. You experienced Amstan through quals, right?
Somewhat. Yeah.
What do you think of them?
They seem like they might be good. I can't really tell.
From playing wise?
From what I can see in tours, they seem to mostly use HO teams and click.
Oh boy,
And
it's a
it
clicker.
works.
Oh my god, another clicker. Another one of these. Oh dear gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. While Geov does have better prep, I would say Amstan I legitimately do not know. So
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't really know.
I think I'm gonna still go with Geov on this one. I think Amstan's one of the players that Geov can actually beat, so I'm gonna go Geov on this one.
I'm not sure if I can actively,
What do you think, Pokeart?
I really don't know.
No, there's no 50-50 on here. We're not bolding verses. In our predictions, we're not bolding verses. We have to pick one.
Can I pick one like when we're done recording or something?
No. The people gotta know who you pick.
Well, I feel like I feel like if I pick either one, I'm making an uneducated guess.
I mean, I've been making those. What are you talking about? I've been making those.
I said uneducated, Mikoi.
God dang it. Come on. Just pick a name. Coin flip.
I don't know.
Okay, fine. We'll think of it after we're done recording, at least. Next up, Sylveon use Calm Mind versus the Gaming Attack. This is a problem. This is a problem, folks. Sylveon in the losers bracket. It does not compute. By the way,
Oh yeah, Sylveon.
Yeah, it does not compute. This is a Sylveon win, 100%. If Gaming Attack wins, I will gladly eat a hat. So yes.
Okay, I'll give you the hat if he wins then.
Don't try to jinx it. Damn it. If it turns out to be a jinx, I will. All right, next up, Seru versus Failbur. They have locked tiers, I believe. They even posted it in the right here. LC, Monotype, NU. I feel like Sarah will take Monotype. I feel like Failbur will take LC. And I think I just predicted what they locked. And NU, this one's a tricky one.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I don't really know their skill in NU as well, so I think just out of the top of my head, I think I'm going with Seru. I think Seru has a legitimate chance over Failbur. That's not to say Failbur can't win. It's just Seru is, I think, a little bit better.
Seru has more experience outside of Tour's room, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, Failbur doesn't really do anything outside of Tour's room, to my knowledge.
No. So are you going with Seru as well?
You know what? Sure.
Alright, next up, VKHSS, a completely new player, versus, well, actually not new, he's been around since 2021, versus Velvet.
Well, he's definitely new in comparison to Velvet, ha ha ha.
Well, no bets are off. I know exactly who I would go for.
Hmm?
Come on, go for VKHSS. Come on. I'm kidding. It's Velvet. Come on.
Wasn't VKHSS in SPL though?
Oh, was he?
Or something?
Oh, was he? Uh-oh.
He has an SPL custom avatar.
Uh-oh. Now that's scary to think. That's scary. But yeah, I still think I'm gonna go with Velvet, to be honest. Like right now in Gen 9, I think Velvet's just stronger.
Okay. I mean, I've only seen BKH do super well in OU, so
I think that's what
I guess saying Velvet is still fair.
Yeah, I think VKHSS will lock OU and Velvet can lock another tier, probably Ubers. And then, yeah, ensuing hijinks happens. Speaking of ensuing hijinks, next matchup, LCAP versus TDR. Guess who won? Hint, it's not TDR.
I would have predicted TDR, so damn.
Yeah, I would have predicted TDR as well.
See, Mikoi, LCAP won't win when you predict for him. He'll only win when you predict against him.
Well, I know what to do next round then. Thank you for the advice. Alright, next up. Your match. PokeR 2004 versus TMM. How the absolute shiz is this a round 1 losers matchup?
What do you mean by that?
I was thinking going into this like, okay, PokeArt can beat Nimzo, TMM easily clouts on Keshba. That's an easy round 2 winners bracket right there. Boom, it gets into round 1 losers. What?
Yeah.
Anyway, I know you locked tiers already, so kindly tell the viewers when you'll be playing and what tiers have you locked.
Oh yeah, Mikoi, remember when I told you when we'll be playing?
I do, but tell the viewers anyway.
Well, guess what? It's a day earlier now.
Oh crap.
Yeah, the tiers we'll be playing in the order of locked will be DOU, UU, and Ubers.
And you'll be playing when?
We'll be playing Saturday, 12 a.m. -5.
That's Sunday, 1 p.m. Saturday, 12 p.m. my time. 1 p.m. my time.
Yes.
Yeah, 1 p.m. my time.
Yeah, Saturday, 1 p.m. your time.
Yeah, I can catch that. But yeah.
It's basically Friday night my time.
Yay!
Like, it's the minute it turns Saturday.
I can watch it in the office. But yeah,
No. You won't be working.
Oh, that's right. It's the afternoon. What am I thinking? Alright, yeah, and DOU, UU, Ubers, you said, yeah. As much as I want to, I will root for you. I'm gonna predict TMM.
Yeah, that's fair, because I'm not terribly good at Ubers.
And UU, well, how are you gonna beat TMM and UU?
Well, it's not impossible. I just need to find someone to help me out.
I can never beat TMM and UU. That should be a warning sign.
Well, Keshba did, so I think that means anyone can, in theory.
Yikes. Next, penultimate matchup time, Cyril versus Trout.
I'll say Trout.
Well, okay, why do you say Trout?
It just seems better, I guess.
Okay, so the tiers they locked are DOU, NU, and UU.
Also, Cyril does not seem to actually know much about the current meta.
At least Trout can learn. At least Trout tries. At least Trout can try to play the singles tiers, and hopefully. But yeah. To me, I think Cyril not necessarily knowing what goes good in the current meta, as opposed to Trout actively wanting to learn. the singles tiers, and it just depends on the strength of their doubles performance, because I know both can play doubles. Trout just does it a whole lot better than Cyril, so that's a Trout win.
Yeah.
And the final matchup, we have Soulstorm versus Ineffable.
Ineffable.
Whoa! Already?
After seeing last week, I don't see Soulstorm winning this.
Oh, I don't see either coming off this one looking good. I genuinely am like, this is a matchup that is just here to fill the time, here to fill in players. I have no faith in either players, and they're not gonna make far into this tour personally. But I guess I'm gonna go. Oh my gosh, how am I gonna pick this? You know what? I still have a little bit more faith in Soulstorm. I'm gonna go with Soulstorm.
Your loss.
I know people are gonna predict Ineffable, but I just have no faith.
Look, man, at least Ineffable C tier.
I put Soulstorm the same tier. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I think that we might have overrated him a little in hindsight.
Maybe if he chooses to play a little bit better than he did last round, then yeah, it would be justified. But for now, I could see why you would retroactively put him in D tier. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this long video. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in.
Wait, before we actually end it off, I think I've gathered my thoughts on Amston versus Giev a bit better.
Oh. Hey, she came around and has a predict in mind. Who do you think?
Now, the issue as to why I'm having so much trouble predicting this is because from what I've seen of Amston, he mostly brings hyper offense in tours and clicks accordingly. So I think he's probably around Giev's level, like, if not maybe slightly below, but this is talking about Giev if she plays at her best.
Yeah.
Thing is, a lot of the time in individual tours, Giev does not play at her best.
She loses motivation quickly.
It seems to me like most of the time she isn't at her best.
Yeah, she loses motivation quickly in the span of room tours. Like, having to play consecutively at the same time kind of takes the wind out of you.
Now, I think I'll say this. I think Giev can win if she plays at her best and isn't nervous. However, I think Amston wins if she is nervous.
Yeah. I predicted Giev because at her best, she can beat Amston.
But you know, I sense a bit of confidence from her after talking to her earlier. She gave her own predictions for the matches and actually predicted herself to win this.
Oh, confidence. That's what I like to see.
So I think I'll go with Giev.
Alright. Unlike a certain cocky bastard, at least I can actually predict Giev on this one. At least she acknowledges the fact that she can try her best, which is nice. Alright, so that brings us to the end of our little video here, our long video that I somehow to call it little. Thank you all so much for watching. Tune in next week when we tackle round 2 recap and round 3 predictions. And yes, please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, click that notification bell so you won't miss a video once they come out. See you next week. This has been McCoy.
Gee, I wonder if I'll even still be in the competition next week.
Gee, I wonder as well. We'll have to wait and see. Until then, this has been McCoy, signing out.
Goodbye.
Roll the cheers and credits.